Think of a friend of yours, someone who changes the air in the room the moment they walk in. There's a quiet edge of superiority in every sentence, and "I already knew that" note in every laugh. They can't stand being criticized. Say, "Maybe you're wrong" to them, and their face hardens instantly, like you'd pulled a knife on them. Most people call this arrogance. But when Nietzsche looked into the darkest corners of the human soul in the 19th century, he saw something very different. What he saw was this: pride, more often than not, isn't the ornament of a strong person. It's the armor of a broken one. The harder it shines, the deeper the crack underneath. In this video, you're going to see that crack, and you'll never look at a proud person the same way again. Now think of that friend again. The last time you saw them, what happened when someone brought up a failure from their work life? They probably changed the subject fast, or laughed it off. But the laugh came a beat too late. That delay said everything. In Beyond Good and Evil, Nietzsche describes a ruthless war between human memory and human pride. Memory remembers something, pride refuses to accept it. And in that war, pride almost always wins. So a person stops remembering what actually happened and starts remembering whatever story their pride will allow. This isn't ordinary forgetting, it's a survival strategy. Because if a person had to face their real weakness, their real shame, they would collapse. The moment the human psyche senses it can't survive that collapse, Nietzsche says, it manufactures a lie. And over time, that lie grows so strong that the person themselves starts to believe it. This is where pride steps in. Pride is like a stage set built on top of shame. The bigger it is, the deeper the thing buried underneath. Now picture a scene we all know. The family dinner table. There's always that one relative. The second they sit down, the conversation turns to their own achievements. Someone mentions a new job, and they cut in to talk about their own success, as if everything said were just a setup for their story. Ask them the simplest question, and the answer turns into a brag. If no one praises them, they get restless, and the moment the silence stretches too long, they pull the conversation back to themselves. When a younger relative shares a small win instead of celebrating it, they immediately top it with a bigger story from their own past. Everyone at the table notices. No one dares say it out loud, because touching their pride means exposing a wound they've spent years carefully hiding. Nietzsche saw this as one of the most dangerous cycles in human nature. A person builds pride to hide their own weakness. Then protecting that pride becomes the whole point. And eventually they get so locked into the mask that they forget the wound is even there. But the wound never closes. It just gets buried deeper, waiting for the smallest remark to drag it back into the light. And that wound doesn't stay at the dinner table. It surfaces with the same force in every corner of life. Picture a meeting at work. Someone puts an idea on the table and another person criticizes it. For someone with fragile pride, this isn't just criticism of an idea. It's the ground under their whole identity shifting, because somewhere along the way, they tied their worth to their achievements, their title, other people's approval. And that bond is tied so tight that even the smallest criticism feels like a threat. This is exactly where Nietzsche's writing on slave morality earns its meaning. Someone who has lost their real power, unable to show strength directly, tries to elevate themselves by tearing others down. That's not superiority. That's compensation for a power that isn't there. A genuinely strong person doesn't do this. Because a genuinely strong person has nothing to prove. The same pattern shows up in the most intimate moments of a relationship. Think of someone who owes their partner an apology and just can't get the words out. They see the mistake. They know it. Somewhere inside, they even feel sorry. But what comes out of their mouth is always the same. "I never said that," or "You're too sensitive." This isn't malice, it's desperation. Because for that person, apologizing isn't just admitting a mistake. It's demolishing the flawless image they've built of themselves in their own mind. The inner war Nietzsche describes turns most brutal right here. Memory says, "I hurt them." Pride cuts in instantly. "That's not who I am." And in the fight between those two voices, the truth is always the one that loses. Because accepting the truth shatters the story a person tells themselves, and pride is determined to protect that story at any cost. You can see the same picture playing out on our screens now. Think of people constantly performing a perfect life online, announcing every win, curating every photo into a flawless display case. It looks like self-love. But seen through Nietzsche's eyes, it's the opposite. Someone genuinely secure in themselves has no need to prove it to anyone. The brighter the display case, the darker the room behind it. And now for the hardest part. Most of the time, the person carrying this mask doesn't even know they're wearing it. Nietzsche saw this trick the human mind plays on itself and found it almost tragic. A person buries their own weakness so deep that they can no longer see it themselves. All that's left is an unexplained flash of rage at the smallest criticism from the outside. That rage is the voice of a wound buried years ago. And this is where Nietzsche's real warning comes in. Watch how harshly someone reacts when you touch their pride. That harshness isn't a measure of their strength. It's a measure of how much they're protecting. The more fiercely they defend it, the more they're hiding. Once you've seen this, you can't unsee it. The boss who's always asserting dominance stops being intimidating and starts being understandable. The person who talks down to you stops looking powerful and starts looking fragile. And maybe the hardest part is catching this same pattern in the mirror, because there's something in all of us we're trying to protect. Nietzsche doesn't teach us to run from this. He teaches us to see it. The real strength isn't breaking someone's pride. It's understanding the real person underneath it. In Beyond Good and Evil, he sums up this quiet war in a single line. Memory says, "I did that." Pride replies, "I could not have done that." Eventually, memory yields. Maybe real maturity is letting pride lose that war, letting memory say, "Yes, I did that," before pride can step in and deny it. And the next time you see someone carrying too much pride, you won't see their power anymore. You'll see what they're hiding.